Hello, this is Gen Jeff here. We have now reached the point where we're doing the Soviet decks, looking over those. We're going to start with the East Germans because they are first. They have this UAZ for the base command unit, which has a good road speed and off-road speed. It is actually better than the Jeep thing that you get for the NATO, because it's faster off-road and it costs the same. Its range is a little bit less, but that's really it doesn't matter what the range is for this Jeep, because usually they drive there and then sit there for the entire battle. Then they have the SPW with a machine gun on it that only serves to give away its position, and because it is larger, it is harder to hide, and it's also a good deal slower in just about every situation. So not really worth the 10-point upgrade. SPW 60. Faster both, faster off-road, I think. Yep, a little bit faster off-road, same speed on-road. Gives away its position. Not really worth the 135 points. The only advantage with these two is that they're armored and less likely to be destroyed by artillery. And then the T-72KI is the East German Armored Command Unit. Very lackluster gun on it, but the armor is pretty good, so it can survive a little bit. And this is for, like, I can see where this would be useful in situations where you're trying to take a front line position. This could do it. This would be a good choice for it. Not the best, not remotely near the best. The gun's not good enough and so on, but it can do it. Their East German supply truck, which carries 1,500 liters of fuel, very fast on and off-road, a very good all-around supply truck, but it's expensive at 30. East German supply helicopter, carries 2,000 liters of fuel, very fast, but also still very big, easy to see, but it's pretty good. FOB, we don't even touch on those because they're always there. And here's the FJB Marine Infantry. They carry the AK-74N with an accuracy of 11. They also have a Strela 2M with an accuracy of 6, HE power of 3. Not really fantastic system there. Not a very good system, but it can do the job. And they've got an RPG-7 with an accuracy of 8, AP power of 14. This unit tries to be a jack of all trades and doesn't really master any of them. But it is fast off-road, and it is good for... Actually, it would be really good for hunting down command vehicles, because if they got a command helicopter and they try to take off with it, well, you got the Strela. If you run into a armored command unit, you've got the RPG-7, and they do have good skills with this AK. Comes in the Ural truck, the SPW, which is basically an armored truck. Not particularly great, but it does the job. This SPDW, the armored APCs, 60 PB and 70. The only difference between the two is the 70 has a faster off-road speed and 1 additional armor on the front. Then they come in these things as well, which have rocket pods. I'm not entirely sure if these things are worth it. They're also really freaking big and easy to see. And then they come in the MI-24, which is MI-24, MI-25, and MI-35P, which is more worth it. Does a good job. And then they got the Strela 2 as a standalone infantry. Same downsides as the other one, with an accuracy only of 6 and an HE power of 3. It's not really the best man-pad, and these guys can't fight worth crap. But they only do cost 5, so they're not expensive. They don't come in the helicopters, but these guys have the additional benefit of coming in these tracked APCs with BMPs and so on. Even though I don't think they're worthwhile to bring in those things. Then they got these guys here, which have an accuracy of 6, much like these guys with their gun. They have a short-ranged guided anti-tank system with an accuracy of 9 and an AP power of 15. They've also got the PKM, which is a pretty good machine gun with an accuracy of 8 and middling rate of fire. They also come in the SPW and the wheeled APCs, the truck, and a couple of helicopters. Now I could see them coming in these, but it'd make them expensive at 50. And you got the faggots, PALR faggots, which are a good system. Same gun as most of the rest of the infantry, with only an accuracy of 6, and they have the faggot with an accuracy of 8, AP power of 11, and range of 2,450 meters. And this is a surprisingly good system, and if you underestimate it, it will kill your tanks, even your good ones. They come in the truck, the wheeled APCs, and the tracked APCs as well. Then we have these Panzerjägers, which just have a really good RPG system and then shit for anything else. And they're small. I'm not entirely sure if these guys are worth it, because they're basically infantry with half the strength and lacking the machine gun. Come in the truck, wheeled APCs, and tracked APCs. The Pioneer units here have a rocket-launched napalm unit. Range for 525, same as the rifle. Pretty good in like forests and stuff, but come in much the same things as before with the addition of the helicopters. And then the reserve Schutzen, which come in the truck, wheeled APCs, and tracked APCs. Hardy har RPG-2 and the MPI again with an accuracy of 5. Kind of shit-tastic all the way around. And then we have the Motorschützen, which come with the KM with an accuracy of 8, same range RPG-7, RPK machine gun with an accuracy of 9. Pretty good all-around infantry unit. Truck, wheeled APCs, and then tracked APCs. Support. Really, the East Germans don't have anything spectacular for this area. They have the Flak Strela, which is an infrared missile system with an accuracy of 8, HE power of 3. So it can work against helicopters, but you're not going to see it work against all that much else, unless it's lucky. Flak Strela 10M is an improvement because the accuracy goes up to 8 and HE power goes to 5, and the rate of fire goes from 9 to 15. And the range also increases against helicopters and airplanes. So it's better. It slows down and the range goes down, but then you get a wheeled platform compared to a tracked platform. It is workable. The optics are very good too. And the Flak Rack OSA, which is their first radar-guided missile. I'm not sure. 2,800 meters against aircraft, accuracy 7, HE power of 5. Not particularly terrible, but not particularly all that impressive either, to be honest. And wow, there's not even any armor on it. These two have armor, this one does not. But it does have exceptional optics, so it can help out with the scouting as well. It is cheap. It is a 20-point unit with exceptional optics. Freaking, the recon is... Where's the exceptional recon? 55. Yeah. And these optics do help spot ground units. So you basically have a 20-point scout unit with anti-aircraft abilities with an accuracy of 7 and HE power of 5. Then you have the Cub, which is their best system, but really not particularly great, because it doesn't actually have enough power to destroy things in one shot, and its range is lower than some of the best of Soviet anti-aircraft with 3,850, but an accuracy of 7. Also, once again, exceptional optics, very slow off-road, so just always remember that. And this thing is funny. Useless against airplanes. Doesn't work, but 1,400 meter range against helicopters, and 1,050 meter range on ground targets with an accuracy of 2. It was basically a dual machine gun on the back of an armored truck, when it actually does have some armor. And then with this, what you have is an infrared system mounted on the back of a truck. Well, this is actually more expensive than that. Which is better? Oh, they're equal, really. Accuracy goes up, and so does HE power a little bit. So really, this is better than that, because the range against both aircraft and helicopters are the same. The accuracy is better, and there's an extra 1 hit power, and it carries more missiles too. Don't bring in this. Bring in this. It is better, even though that has armor. This is still better. And these guys are just a helicopter's bane, because it reaches out 2,800 meters against helicopters and 2,275 against airplanes. With an HE power of 1 and a suppression of 132, it is very good against fighting helicopters and suppressing them. Not so good against aircraft, but it does the job. And this thing is smaller gun, fires a lot faster though, and it still has the ground capability but loses the range on the helicopters. Accuracy goes up by 1 and the rate of fire skyrockets. Suppression goes down though, and and it slows down a little bit off-road. And then this thing here is a little 120mm mortar, range of 7,700 meters, with an accuracy of 3, HE power of 8. So it's a powerful little compact weapon system that can cause some real damage. And it has the PKT for close-in defense, but it shouldn't have to fight close-in. All-around armor except for the top, but when you're looking at the top you can see why there's no armor on the top. There's a giant gaping hole in it. It's decent off-road speed, decent on-road speed, and decent range, so it can do the job. This has its uses because it has an HE power of 10 with a short range. This is basically a let's fire 12 240mm mortar rounds and then run the hell away. That's what it should be used for, as a short range, close support mortar. And it does very well in that role. It does very well. I've seen it destroy some pretty big stuff. And then this is much the same role with longer range, and it has almost 4 times as many rockets and fires a lot faster. But these won't destroy as much as those will. And then this thing is that with a reload. So it can run up, fire, and move it so it can, and they reload, and then it can fire again. And this thing is a 122mm howitzer system, all-around armor, decent range, middling range, kind of bad range for a gun. Accuracy of 4, HE power of 8, and it can kind of defend itself against tanks, but it's not really good at it. And then you have this, which is bigger gun, a little bit longer range, accuracy goes down, HE power goes up, as well as suppression, but the rate of fire just tanks. And it's not as fast off-road. Not as good of a system, but it has a bigger gun and does more damage. Tanks! T-34. Can't have a deck without the T-34 for the Russians. Craptastic gun. Piss poor accuracy, piss poor AP power. Oh, that's actually pretty good HE power for a tank. Well, it's average, actually. Until you get to the bigger guns. With a suppression of 98 and 6 rounds a minute, armor might as well not even exist. Good against APCs and stuff, and just for a mass weapon, because it works out when, say, you have 43 of these and your friend has 43 of these. Spam them all and charge. The enemy will run out of ammunition before you run out of tanks, which can be fun. 10 points a pop. You can spam these to your heart's content. Then you get the T-55. Accuracy is just as bad. The AP power does not go up all that much. Actually, only goes up by 1. Armor is barely a significant improvement over the T-34. Range is a good improvement, and the size of the tank actually goes down from big to medium, even though the T-34 really isn't all that big of a tank, but okay, whatever. And then the T-55A, no improvements other than an accuracy increase of 2 and an AP power increase of 2 as well. And then it gets a machine gun. Armor is the same, all other stats are equal. Then you get the M1PB, which is a slight improvement in armor on the front, top, and sides, and nothing else. Well, the optics go from bad to poor. Yay! And then you get the T-55AM2PB, which has the addition of a Bastion anti-tank guided missile system with a range of 2,625, with accuracy of 8, AP power 16, and accuracy 8 gun, but no AP improvement. And then there's the armor that goes up to 10 on the front. Frankly, these are all defensive stuff. Well, actually, you can use these for both the offense and attack en masse, and hope the enemy runs out of ammunition. These guys are surprisingly good as ambush tanks with the addition of the Bastion anti-tank guided missile. Makes this a really effective tank. I used to bring these in the previous game at max rank, have 8 of them, and I'd be destroying M1A1s with this. With a basic T-55 using a Bastion anti-tank system. It was always entertaining. KPZ-72. Your basic T-72. 35 points. Most heavily armored unit you can get for 35 points. Middling gun. It has, in some ways, it's kind of equal, slightly about equal to T-55A in the gun. Because the range isn't anything to write home about. It's kind of a lot like the T-55A, just much better armor. T-72M, what you get with this is slightly improved armor on the fronts and sides. The range of the gun goes up to 2,100 meters from 1925. Accuracy goes to 5 and AP power goes to 14. And it's only a 15-point increase. And for some reason counts as a prototype. It is the shittiest prototype in the game. Actually, prototype and prototype. Wow, that's different. It's probably listed as such because it is an East German specific tank. Not the other nations didn't have it. Otherwise, you'd be able to get these things as a mixed nation deck, which probably wouldn't be possible in real life. Or something like that. But with the slight improvement from this to this, which cost 10 points, you get an additional accuracy, an additional 4 additional AP power, 2 additional armor on the front, optics go from poor to medium, and that's about it, but that's well worth the 10 points. Recon. Excellent optics and excellent optics. Disable the weapon systems on these, because you want these to hide and not be spotted. This is faster, moves around quicker, better for quick reconning of places or just hiding it out. This is better for just hiding it out, and deactivate the gun until they're in a close ambush position or they see you. And then the UAZ, which has very good optics, and this thing which has a gun. Don't buy the one with the gun, just go for the basic one, hide it in brush lines, and watch your flanks with it. Spam these. The range is crap. Not really worth 20 points. But really not worth the 20 points when we go back to the support and realize this costs 20 points with exceptional optics and anti-aircraft system, and this costs 20 points with good optics and shit for anything else. The SPW-40A, which is largely the same exact thing, but with a double machine gun mounted on top of it that is bigger. It's still not worth 30 points. But you could bring these in with your armored pushes and they'd help you recon as you're pushing forward. And same thing with this, it has some more armor. Accompany your armored pushes with it, but really there's no other reason to use this thing. And the recon infantry. Only bring these in helicopters. Very good optics, not very fast. This is kind of a stationary deploy and hide in brush lines and stuff and keep an eye on your flanks. It's not really good for that much else, and this thing is not really impressive. Now this, bring them in helicopters, is much better for special forces with a 27 kilometers an hour off-road speed, very good stealth, very good optics, and has the RPG-70. You can use these to ambush command vehicles behind the lines if you can get them back there. It has a good machine gun, so it can fight, which is nice. Then you have this thing, all-around armored unit. Bring these instead of these, because this still has armor that you could move up forward with it in the attack, and it has better optics. And the same thing with this. This one is faster with a better off-road speed and much better range, and a better gun too. That actually gives it slight armor-piercing power. Then you have the recon helicopters. Go with this one over this one. Even though it's 30 points more expensive, it does have exceptional optics. and a better range. Mind you, this is the only very small helicopter I know of at the moment, so it's harder to spot. But the optics aren't as good, so just go with this thing. Vehicles. Tracked APC, not worth bringing anything in. It's too slow, it's not armored enough, and the gun's shit. BMP-1, SP-1. 15 points each, has a decent gun on it, but you can't, not likely to hit anything. Has a Matioka, which can kill stuff, but isn't very good at that either. And it's basically, well, it's kind of like mounting your infantry in T-34s. It has its benefits because this thing can shoot at infantry and buildings and stuff and suppress them and do damage, but at the same time it's not particularly great. Then the SP2, slightly better chance to hit, a better anti-tank missile, and that is it. Next one. Well, that's only a 5-point increase. That's kind of worth the 5 points. And this is 25 points. Carries a Conquerors, which has an accuracy 9, AP power of 19. Much better rate of fire, too. It's much more impressive. And that is the only improvement. And then you have the BMP-2, which has a Conquerors and an autocannon. The autocannon accuracy goes down, but it actually now has, well, it fires faster. And doesn't really increase in suppression, but when you're firing a lot faster, then it can be worth it. There's extra armor on the side. Flame tank. These things can be surprisingly useful if you have them in the correct place at the correct time. Has the basic T-55 gun, and then a napalm thrower. Flamethrower thing. Works pretty nicely depending on where you have it, if it's at the correct place at the correct time. Spam these with these. Because you can have these between the tanks and the faggots. The faggots can stay back at 2,450 meters and pick tanks off, while these things die. For lack of a better way of putting it, they just die. Then you have the Malyukas on this thing, which I've never actually seen work all that well, but it can be handy for extra cannon fodder. Conquerors work better because they're just more powerful and more accurate. But really, other than the weapon system, there's no difference between these in stats. And I don't think that is worth 15 extra points, taking it from 25 to 40. I don't think that's worth it. That's just me. Helicopters! APC, infantry transport helicopter. All these are infantry transport helicopters as well, and so are these. I'm not sure if you can bring these out separately from infantry. You might be able to, but I'm not sure. But this is the best one right here, because they got the Kraken, which is incredibly powerful, and there's a lot of Russian helicopters that have those, which is really nice. Now planes! These two are pretty much identical, except this one has 2 bombs while that one has 4. That is really the only difference. MiG-21M is a ground support system using rocket pods. I've never particularly found rocket pods to be particularly useful. And the later versions that go from 65 to 80 points as well also have an anti-aircraft capability, but really I find these more useful as anti-helicopter because the accuracy of A and the AP power is just, HE power is just too low to take down an airplane. But it can take down many helicopters in combination with this gun. MiG-23BN carries 4 cluster bombs and then isn't really any particularly spectacular in anything else. Also has an accuracy 8 infrared missile with an HE power of 3, more useful against helicopters and aircraft. MiG-23MF. Now we're getting into the air superiority. We can do it. It might take out one airplane, but once again isn't particularly spectacular. And the only difference between this and that is this one carries more infrared missiles on it than this one does. Then you got the MiG-29 9-13, better anti-aircraft system with a range of 6,300 meters, an accuracy of 12, and HE power of 6. It's still going to take 2 missiles to take an aircraft down, but it's better. Then you got these things with an accuracy 12 and HE power 5, can take down helicopters really nicely, in addition to helping support this with aircraft. And the range for both these missiles is good. Particularly this one being an infrared missile. Most of them only have a 2,800 meter range. This one's got 3,500 meter range. Now you got the Su-22M4, which just carries a Sakalos missile, which I find absolutely freaking useless. And a craptastic missile that can only really be used against helicopters. These things, they find a target and then seem to fly straight at it, which usually means straight into the loving, bear-hugging arms of anti-aircraft fire. And this thing has an anti-radar missile with a 4,200 meter range, which can be very handy because that's a good range. Boy, those missiles are big. And it has these infrared missiles as well. That is the East Germans. Next time we do the Russians. And God, is there a lot of units in the Russian side. Have fun, everybody. See you next time.